of course, is coming up in just a few days from now. If you want to make your own homemade corned beef, download our recipe today and get started, because you have to brine your beef. It's really pickled beef you're making. You have to brine it for 5 days before you cook it up. This one's already been soaking for 5 days in that delicious brine that we made with brown sugar, pink salt, kosher salt, and our own homemade mix of pickling spice. All of that with coarse black pepper and garlic goes into a bag. Don't forget to pierce the meat all over with a metal skewer or the tip of a sharp knife. That allows that brine to really get in and start working on the meat. The day you're going to cook, lift it out of the brine, pat it dry a bit, and then drop it down into a pot. I'm going to cook this up with root vegetables. I'm going to take a couple of onions, leave the root end attached so the onion stays together as it cooks up. Throw your onions in. Of course, chop some celery into nice, big, pretty pieces. Dump it all in the pot. Some nice, big chunks of carrots. And then instead of just covering it with water, which is traditional, in my family, we love the flavor of that stock, and we mop it up with bread, and we serve it up with brown mustard. So what I do is I add homemade or store-bought chicken stock first to really enhance the flavor of the broth, and then add water just to come to the top of the meat. Bring this up to a low rolling boil. Transfer it to a low oven or keep it on a low simmer on your stovetop. Cook it for a couple of hours until the meat starts to get nice and tender. Then it'll look like this. The last 45 minutes or so, that's when I throw in the cabbage. When people make corned beef and cabbage at home, they usually complain because if the cabbage overcooks, it can get very fragrant. But if you cook the cabbage just towards the end, it keeps a little of its integrity, keeps a little bit of its crunch, and the house doesn't, well, get that cabbagey overcooked smell. So we're gonna put the cabbage right on top of this. I've got one working in the back. When we come back, we'll serve it up. So guys, when you take your corned beef out, I just serve it straight from a huge cutting board like this one we have here. We always serve dark bread, pumpernickel or marble rye or nice dense rye bread on the side. And then we take our cooking juices and pour that down over the vegetables and the cabbage. And then we take the extra juices and I put them in a little gravy boat with a big spoon so people could put a little of the jus down over the corned beef and reserve any of this last stock and make corned beef hash the next day. Delicious. When you serve this up for supper, we always take a couple of pieces of the corned beef. As I said, spoon the jus down over the top so it's nice and moist. And then take big pretty wedges of the cabbage and the big chunks of carrots and celery. Pile that alongside. And then I like, as I said, dark bread, and I am a mustard freak. So